Hello and welcome to the Coffee and Hustle podcast. This episode, we are going to talk about what are the hottest trends. We're going to talk about the top five while in quarantine right now. And I am Carla with Designed by Carla. And joining me on this podcast is our wonderful Taralyn. She is our content developer for DBC. So thank you, Taralyn, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Carla.
And can you tell us, so go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing over there in isolation?
I love my four corners. I love my four walls. I'm all about it. So Taralyn, tell everybody what you do for Designed by Carla. What do you do?
Well, first and foremost, I do mostly what Carla tells me to do because I get regular assigned tasks in Asana and text messages and phone calls. But no, I help develop the content for the various websites that you design and create and try to make sure that we add personality.
So you're saying I boss you around? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm not saying that at all. No, I don't know where you got that idea.
And we've known each other. How long have we known each other now? We've known each other for...
it's been maybe 3 years. Because you remember Carol introduced us.
Yes. That was a great coffee.
And during that introduction or prior to, she did tell me, she was like, "You're gonna love Carla." She was like, and she's a lot.
Yes.
And she's right.
It's been that was a really great coffee moment that we had together, right? That's how we met. It was off of coffee. Hint, Coffee and Hustle, by the way. I'm Coffee and Hustle, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's why I came up with that name. So I have a question for you. So we're going to start with the top five, and we're going to go backwards so that we can talk about the number one trend of this quarantine that we've got going on right now. And by the way, how are you doing with your quarantine? Are you doing okay with that?
I'm doing okay. I am actually more on the introverted side. So, and then because I primarily work from home, that wasn't as much of an adjustment. The adjustment has been my family, whom I love. But what works really well for introverts is when they are alone by themselves. So I don't have to get used to working from home. I had to get used to not being alone and being isolated.
I'm an actual introvert extrovert. So I've had a home office now for well over 18 or 19 years now. Yeah. So for me, it's like it doesn't really bother me. I just like to have some fresh air every once in a while because I like to get up from my desk. So if I don't, then I'll be glued to it all day long. But
so let's start with I have to get fresh air too. Otherwise, I do go a little stir crazy. Yeah, I have a retired parents and a 15-year-old. So,
Do we? Do we know? Do we really? So I have a question. We'll start with the, are you a hunter or a gatherer in this quarantine moment right now?
A gatherer. Oh, Carla.
I put you on the spot.
That's a good one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm probably right now and probably more in gathering mode because it has taken me like the last 2 weeks to sort of get my bearings because we've had a lot of stuff, you and I, work going on. But in terms of just planning for the next, I don't know, foreseeable couple of months, I'm really just starting to try to flesh that out. You know what I'm saying? Like really starting to make my list of what kind of work I want to go after. I've started thinking a lot more about something I want to launch in 2020. So yeah, right now I've probably been more in gathering mode. I already know you're.
I'm actually. What?
I already know.
I'm a what? What is it? You say right. I'm a hunter. I am not a gatherer. I'm always on the hunt. I probably got about five or six things going on in my head at one time, and while you're having a conversation, and I'm thinking about something else. So
Yeah.
I really have to focus on what I need to be doing. I really have to turn stuff off. Like I've never really had to turn social media off, but I've had to turn it off during this time. I think it's been almost an overload for me,
Sure.
almost too much to the point where it's just it stresses me out constantly seeing newer updates and updates constantly coming out with the latest information or the latest live feed. I think every time I get a live feed, I panic.
Yeah.
So I've kind of had to actually turn off my social media for a little bit, and so that I can concentrate on things. So that's been my biggest change since we've all been stuck at home here lately. And so we'll start with the top five. I want to talk about number five. Number five on our list is community involvement. So I think that we can all know the fact that we've all kind of put ourselves together. We now are getting set up with our routines, and we're starting to see what can our community do and get together and bond. And one of the things that we're really pushing out is helping our local businesses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we want everybody to survive through this. So I think that's been important in community involvement. So, and what have you been experiencing and seeing as far as community involvement?
Well, I think, even if you're sort of taking in media online or on TV, you constantly are seeing now the phrase, we're all in this together, which I think is great. And I try to remind myself of that every day. And there have been a lot of organizations, national and local organizations, that put together lists for people who want to volunteer and give back. And of course, you can always do that online and donate your money. But there are actually ways that you can donate your time or some of your skills or resources. I know that like our local United Way of Madison County, they have a whole list on their website of different volunteer opportunities. And of course, a lot of them have to do with donating food or if you're comfortable, helping to deliver food to people who can't get out, who shouldn't be getting out. And there are guidelines, of course, about how to keep yourself safe and other people safe. And I think we talked a little bit about donating blood. The Red Cross is still looking for people.
Yeah,
to do
they're running
that.
short right now. So
They are.
You know, and that's a huge concern in what's going on right now. So, and with all these things that are changing right now, we just gonna have to really pay attention to what does our community really need.
Yeah.
And I think that I've noticed a lot of people taking up some sewing.
Yeah.
You know, not just sitting around the table putting puzzles together.
No, seriously, this should make you think about like getting back to basics. Because right about now, I'm like, I should have been paying attention when my daddy was out planting that garden every year.
Hey, not only that, but how many uses can you use in baking soda?
Okay.
Baking soda is like the baking soda of all. I used to have one of those books of like the homemade uses of, remedies. You don't remember all that when I was growing up and you was reading that book when you
actually had like home economics in school.
Listen, I grew up on a farm and we had dirt to play in. Yeah, we had a dirt pile with pecan trees. And so we were left out there all day long. And if it rained, we had to stay out there, whether it's, if it wasn't thunder and lightning, you were staying outside. So you sit out there, build your little sand castle in your dirt pile. And if you were hungry, you just grab some pecans or walk out to the farm. Well, okay, or you just go and grab some cucumbers in the garden area, which was, we had 1,000 acres. So we had peanuts and, okra and, fig trees. They were nasty. Fig trees were nasty, by the way. They're yucky. But I mean, that's how we grew up. We were dirt. We were dirty. I played with snakes, play go-karts and pop firecrackers, you know what I'm saying? And that's how we grew up. So, we tipped a few cows.
Listen,
so
that I think that's a Southern requirement.
Got to tip some cows and chase off the hogs and jump in the goat pit and let them chase you around like an idiot. So, that's how we grew up. Crazy wild dogs with foam coming out of their mouths or rabies.
Well, look, there's a lot of folks who haven't learned how to do their own nails.
Listen, sometimes it's just good to go all out natural.
Yeah,
So I'm just
your little
saying.
nails, learn how
But
to cut your own hair.
well, I'm just going to say that the community involvement means that we've slowed down a little bit
Yes.
and taken a bigger step of going, okay, what is really going on with us
But
as a
and I
society?
yeah, it's important. But you know what, Carla, I really think it's an opportunity. Really. Because I think
Oh,
about
yeah.
the fact that, I have this 15-year-old and this, it's like this is at the peak of busyness for them. You know what I'm saying? In terms of their lives. They're going back and forth, you're shuttling them to and fro to everything. And she
Hmm.
started playing tennis this year. And I had realized that I would drop her off at like 7:45, 8 o'clock, and then not see her until 7 o'clock
Yes.
that night. And now
Yeah.
I kind
Our
of look,
society has been very busy.
yeah. And now I'm like, I've got extra time with this teenager now. I don't know how excited she is about it, but I'm like, so I'm like,
Well, I
everyone is
think it's
like,
also,
all in her face, like, what you
here's the
doing? Who
thing.
you talking to?
I'm just going to say this. There's we're either going to have a high rate of divorces or a lot of babies.
I think
So
we're
this
gonna have
is when
both.
you really,
We're gonna have both.
you know, but I really do think that it just gives us a chance to reconnect,
Yeah.
and really focus on some of the good things that are happening around us and not so focus on the negative stuff. So, I mean, I look for good stuff. Like there is a Facebook page, I shared it the other day. It was called Some Good News. And I can't remember the guy's name. It was the guy that played on The Office, the show, and he did his home video and he shared really good news, and it was just really just uplifting. And
Yeah.
so I think it's our job to share inspirational quotes, and it's our job to share good stuff that's going on around us too. So I think there's a lot of good stuff. Listen, I love the fact that I can hear the birds chirping out the window.
I know.
I mean, they're talking to us. They're saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
we know you're stuck in the house."
But I mean, and you're right. And it causes you to just like slow down a little bit. And even like, my neighbors at home, which I know the neighbors on both sides of me, and um, you might wave or something. And now we might be having conversations 6 feet apart, but I have heard more people just sort of asking, how you doing? You know what I mean? They're out in the
Yes,
yard,
yeah, yeah,
and they're just, how you doing?
yeah.
Little
I
things.
think it's brought the community back together, and now we're seeing where do we go. Hopefully, this will continue even after all this is said and done, and we've learned a lot of lessons from it too. So. I think there was a video today I watched on YouTube, and it had I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head, but it talks about taking the negative and turning it into a positive, and so that we're not focusing and reaching out to people. I think is important, to your friends and families, and just say hello. Just give them a phone call. Don't text them.
Yeah.
I think we've lived a life behind the phone a lot, where you shoot them a photo and like, hey, how you doing? But no, actually talk to them and pick up the phone. I think community involvement is important. So we're going to move on to number 4. Our number 4 is takeout. A lot of takeout
Yeah.
food, helping our local restaurants and community that serves us and feeds us every day. I think is so important. So takeout food is our number 4. How many times a week have you been doing takeout?
So I haven't doing a whole lot because I do come from a family who we all cook. But at least once, maybe twice a week, I try to grab some takeout. Today, I got my favorite Vietnamese. I had some seafood
Mhm.
curry. I'm actually gonna have the leftovers for dinner. Because sometimes when I just need to get out of the house and I just drive around, I will just go drive around certain areas and take a look at different places that I've never been before and go, oh, okay, I'm going to go check that place out, or I'm going to place it to go order, for the weekend or something. Because
I think
people are
it's
hurting.
smart. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are, and we have to really just keep supporting them as much as possible. Because look, here's the other thing too. All these people that got used to going out to eat all the time, now they've got to stay at home and cook.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some life lessons in that. And I think it's really good because the kids can get in the actual kitchen and start helping you with that, and they tend to love that a little bit. I like to cook.
Yeah.
But right now we are supporting as much takeout as we can. That's healthy, not so much the fast food so much, but if
What's
we
your favorite
can,
place, Carla?
what to eat?
Yeah.
Or just
Takeout. What's your favorite place?
Oh gosh, I love sushi. Sushi's my favorite. I think I'm in love with sushi because it's just so much flavor to it, and it's healthy. I want to say it's somewhat healthy, maybe. But I like sushi. But if I could, right now I have me a nice juicy steak. I love me some steak, but right now I'm just if I can just keep myself healthy and working out during this process, to me it's like that's important, keeping your routine.
It is.
But I think supporting our local businesses is important. So I think our next one, number 3, is memes. Now, listen, I got to tell you something. When it first came out, my kids used to make fun of me because I didn't know how to pronounce it. I'm a Southern girl. Look here, listen. I got a Southern accent. Half the time I don't pronounce words the correct way. I just say whatever I want. So I say what I want, and either I like it or not. It don't bother me. But I used to call them memes. Instead of memes. My children were like, "Mom, what'd you say?" And I'll go, "Memes." So that's and at first I didn't get them. I didn't quite understand them, but that was just me. But what is your
thing? I've seen quite a few, but I can't remember any.
I think they come out. I think they come out of the woodwork.
But there's so many.
They are so many. There's one that because now all the kids are going to be homeschooled. I think now it's like, and just like that, homeschooling become mandatory.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I honestly, and the toilet paper memes are just to die for.
They are everywhere.
So whoever can come up, when they come up with these things, I'm just honestly just completely just, like who has time for all that? I'm just going to say. And it was like one that's got a dog in the middle of the room surrounded by these rolls of toilet paper, and it says, "This is fine." I just don't know. There's just so many of them. Do you have a favorite one?
I think I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's one that stands out. The one I told you about that it's like a picture of a very plump baby with lots of rolls, and it's like me after I've gone through all my coronavirus snacks in one night. Because you're just like, why are you eating so much? But
well, I like the ones of the people go, quarantine ain't got ain't nobody got time for that. But I'm just saying, I think the memes are. I think what some of them are like. We have to have some laughter.
Oh yeah.
To a certain degree, because some of it's just completely just it's so over the top.
There are a lot of people with extra time on their hands, but also I think events like this bring out the creativity in folks. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that I wish I had more time to do these kinds of things but I like to share a few of those memes because I have a sense of humor and I love to be I think laughter is like the best thing
it is
in the world, and I think it's good medicine for us to laugh a little bit. We're so glued to the TV and what's the latest and greatest on what's going on, and we're sitting at the edge of our seat, and so I think that if we can share some laughter through this, I think is good. There's one that I shared. It's called it's the 2 dogs, and they're doing a selfie with the pyramids behind them, and they go, "Dogs can't get coronavirus, so they travel." You know what I mean? So to me, it's just like I love anything like that just reminds us. But I don't know. I love memes. Memes, by the way. Memes. Yeah. So I'm all about that. I love it. So we can continue to share those.
Well, at least you weren't like me when they first came out, and my daughter had to let me know how to correctly pronounce it. Because to me, I was like, that's Mimi. It's Mimi.
Yeah. Yeah. Mimi. See, I wasn't the only one who didn't get it. Like, who came up with that word anyways?
We're not alone.
You know, why does it have to be memes? You know what I mean? Like, who decided that's the word that's associated with these, these graphics? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I just think it's funny that we share some laughter, throughout this entire process, because I think this is, the best thing that we can do with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we don't take it serious, but we do need to follow the rules. But we do need to have some laughs. So what is I think I have a question that I wanted to ask you. It's like, if you were given an elephant and you can't give it away, I don't think I wrote down the rest of the question. What would you do with it? What would you do with that elephant?
Oh, okay. I think we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but I probably would just ride the elephant down the middle of the street, like one of the characters in the Tiger King documentary.
Yeah. Well, I think yeah, because I think that, so before we start with that, let's talk about what number 2 is, and that is the TikTok, the
Oh, yeah.
rise of TikTok right now. And for those who don't know what that is, you have been hiding under a rock.
So go ahead and say that, first of all, when I first discovered TikTok, because anytime there's a new social media app, I get my daughter's feedback on it. Because I want to know, number one, are you using it? And then in some cases, I'm like, I want to understand it. And I have to say, when TikTok first came out, I was like, okay, why?
What is
I don't
it?
get it. Well, first of all, I felt
Yeah.
about TikTok the way I felt about Snapchat. I was like, well, that's pointless. Like when Snapchat first came out, I was like, okay.
I'd rather do other things in my life right now besides recording myself look stupid, or like that. I'm not saying that's a bad. I shouldn't say stupid, but I'm just saying there's other things that we could be doing with our time. But
and to be perfectly honest, I still don't understand really truly the purpose of Snapchat. However, I have come around to TikTok in part because there have been so many TikTok coronavirus inspired dances going on. You got nurses who come up with TikTok dance videos. And who is that? There's some influencer who did one about like washing your hands. And then, of course, all these popular
they pay.
kids are making choreographing dances too. And I think it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the thing. TikTok cannot be ignored because it is the fastest social media platform right now. And it's the greatest. It's really a great outlet because it gives these kids, well, actually, let's just put it this way. So the age groups for TikTok is like 13 to 30, right? And the amount of users logging on that is actually, increased tremendously. So it gives everybody that option to have some outlet with TikTok. I'm actually thinking about it. I know I'm not a little too old for it, but my kids are challenging me to get on it.
I think you need to jump on in there because I told you,
Do you think so?
I've got Gabby trying to teach me a TikTok dance, and now she's, of course, she thinks she's too cool for everything. But I'm like, listen.
I think I might be a TikTok queen. I think I might. I think I might take the challenge. Challenge accepted. TikTok is now going to be my new social media outlet. Okay. You just wait. Okay. By this weekend, I will have a TikTok account. I'm just saying.
Yes, you will. And then I'll be getting a text message or an email that says, Taralyn, can you take a look at this and tell me what you think?
Yeah, of course. Why not? I mean, TikTok might be my jam. Can we say jam anymore? Is jam actually a word that we can use?
Well, look,
I can say it. I can say anything I want. That's right. I'm adult. You don't own me. Oh, Lord. Why not? Right? Just snap, snap. I'm going to be the TikTok queen. I'm going to have to come up with a really cool name, though. I mean, I may have to get online and look up a name generator because, I'm all nerdy and all.
Okay. You listen.
I'm just nerd and all.
You should come up with a coffee and hustle dance for TikTok.
Coffee and hustle dance. Yes, I might do that. I'll just intertwine it. Somehow figure out a way to intertwine my podcast with my TikTok.
There you go.
And have a coffee and hustle TikTok. I think thank you. Thank you for thinking for me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate that. You're my name generator. I don't even have to look it up.
Just developing content all day long.
That's why you're my girl. That's right. That's why you're my content developer. You just think for me. I just throw words out there and you just put it all together. So official TikTok, coffee and hustle TikTok jam. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the word jam in it too. I might just put extra jam on it. A little jam up in it. Why not? So I'm going to go ahead and start with the number one. Now listen, I don't know about y'all, but I really honestly don't understand it. I'm going to refuse to watch the show. This thing that's called the Tiger King. I literally have seen shirts, memes, workout names for it, challenges. I've heard the aspect of, I've heard from my daughter now who says, Mom, once you start watching it, you can't stop watching it. And I'm just like, I'm refusing to watch it because I don't know. It's just not my jam. It's not my jam.
First of all, let me just say, okay, so full disclosure, I have watched it. Not only have I watched the documentary on Netflix,
why'd you punish yourself?
There was a podcast about this guy, and his name's Joe Exotic. He's the Tiger King. And I listened to the podcast months ago, like before 2020, they had this podcast out, which was like bananas. And I thought the story was crazy. And then they released this documentary and it took it to a whole new level because you had all the visuals. You got this dude with these tigers and he's recording music videos on top of cars. And this is the thing about the Tiger King. The sort of main character, Joe Exotic, he pulls you in. But then you have all these other characters involved. And that's what gets you to the point where you cannot look away. It really is. It's like a car accident. You can't stop.
Well, I'm just going to say, growing up, remember we had 3 channels growing up, right? We had maybe on a good day, you might get 4. And do you remember like on Saturday mornings, we watched Mutual Omaha? And it would have the Animal Kingdom or whatever it was called.
Yes.
Right. And so we grew up and watched, and it was, I wanted to save the whales because I love Jacques Cousteau. I don't know if y'all remember. You remember that?
Wow.
So Jacques Cousteau was my hero. He actually was one that I looked up to. I don't know why, but I wanted to save whales. Okay. I wanted to be an oceanographer. And that was my dream. That growing up, that's all I ever thought about. And I studied everything there was about whales. And I actually sponsored one. I will never ever. Her name was Midnight. Yeah, her name was Midnight. I actually had a sponsored whale. She was an orca. And so because I loved whales so much that I actually had sponsored my own whale. Her name, of course, our favorite. And I had whale tails. I wore the whale tails around my neck. I was very proud of my whale tails, but that's as crazy as I'm going to get. And that I would watch something like this. I think it's just, for me, it's like, I know that if I start watching it, I know I won't turn it off. And so I'm refusing to watch it.
Well, and I will say, you sound like my best friend she's been hearing all about it. She's heard me talk about it. She refuses to watch it for 2 reasons. 1, because she's also afraid she's not going to be able to stop. And then 2, she is like the definition of an animal lover. And I told her, I said, there will be some parts of that I think for you will be too disturbing. Like, I think it would be too upsetting for her. Like, I think
Oh, yeah.
just getting the story entertaining and unbelievable as it is, I think would not be enough to sort of keep her from being upset about some of the stuff that comes out about the way the
Wow.
animals.
But see, I wouldn't be able to do that. I think I would be so upset, and I can't believe that, because I don't like things like that, because I love animals too. I'm a huge animal lover. So for me, it would be disturbing for me, and I would be very upset. So I'm still going to stick away from it. I'm not going to play into that. I think that's just where my mind is at, because I think sometimes we get so bored that maybe the silliest things should just be our entertainment for us. And I just don't want to play into that. I think not that everybody else might like it, and that's their thing. It's just, I'm not about the Tiger King.
The reason that people are so taken with it is because it really seems like if it were not true and somebody just sort of pitched the plot to that thing, nobody would buy it. But because it's true and these people are real,
Yeah.
and you have evidence,
Mm-hmm.
people are just sort of like, this is unbelievable. And they can't,
Yeah, but
and they really can't look away. But I will say this, one thing that it brought to light for me really was this market for exotic animals that I did not know was as big as it is.
do you remember, like, the only guy that I think I really enjoyed back in the day was, and I got obsessed with, was watching Steve Irvin. Do you remember him? I really loved his show. What was his favorite? I can't remember what his favorite thing he would say. And remember, he, ended up getting killed from a stingray injury. Crikey! Crikey! Because he was the crocodile hunter. Remember, he was named for the crocodile hunter. That's right.
He was a true animal lover, and really about protecting animals. So that was, I think he's sort of one of the rare cases, especially compared to these folks in that documentary, where he was really about educating. And educating the public about animals and protecting animals that were on the verge of extinction. And he was
and so for me, I would definitely watch those kinds of things. And I love those. That's those feel good ones, because I know that they're doing good.
Yes.
For
let me tell you something, Carla, just in case you don't know, the Tiger King is not the crocodile. They are two very different people.
Well, then I'm going to refuse to watch it, because that's just not that. I would punch my TV probably. I'd be one of those that throw. Back in the day, we used to throw stuff at your TV, and people didn't realize it would break.
Who did that? I could not do that in my house.
Women used to you could buy like a soft brick, like a, the spongy bricks, and you could throw stuff at your TV. And anyways, I've been one of those. I literally would throw something at the TV if I saw that show. So thank you for letting me know that it's not, maybe not about my particular style, because if it ain't a Steve Irvin, then it ain't my show. So I want to say thank you for so much. We're going to do this again. We're going to continue the top 5 trends. We'll probably do another one next week on, what are you doing now in your quarantine time, moment. But let's do this again. I really enjoyed it hanging out with you on our podcast. And so thank you so much for coming in and talking to us on our Coffee and Hustle podcast. And so joining us on the next one. Taralyn, would you be willing to come back and let's do this again?
I lost you there for a minute, Carla. Can you hear me?
Well, I appreciate it, and so we'll see. We'll do this. Yes, I can hear you now. I think we lost connection. We are doing this social distancing as we speak, so So we have been following the rules of social distancing for sure. But thank you so much for coming in and taking time out of your day and sharing with me your top top trends for quarantine while you're in quarantine. And we'll do this again pretty soon. So, all right. Well, I'll see you soon, and I'll probably talk to you tomorrow about some more work. But in the meantime, we'll see you soon. Coffee and Hustle podcast, and we'll do this again next week. Talk to you soon.